Most people don't prepare for this moment when you're over 70 and suddenly there's no one left. Friends are gone, routines fade, and the silence becomes loud. But this isn't the end. It's a different kind of beginning, a chance to find peace, meaning, and even joy alone. These 5 real-life guides were made for this exact moment. Don't leave early, the last one will change everything. We begin with the room you are in. Look around you, the walls, the chair, the window. For many in this stage of life, this room can feel like a prison, a container for memories that now bring a sharp ache, a quiet reminder of what is no longer here. The silence can be so heavy it feels like a physical weight on your chest. This feeling is real, it is valid, and you must first acknowledge its presence without judgment. Do not fight it. Do not push it away. Simply allow it to be like a cloud in the sky. It is there, but it is not the whole sky. You are the sky. This feeling is just weather passing through. Inside our training halls, the first lesson is not one of movement, but of non-movement. It is the practice of sitting. We learn that the walls of the monastery are not there to keep the world out, but to create a container for us to finally meet ourselves. Your home, your room, can become this monastery. It is not defined by who is absent, but by the potential of who is present. You. The first step towards being happy alone is to transform the perception of your environment from a place of lack to a space of potential, a sacred space for the cultivation of your own inner world, your inner stillness. This stillness is not emptiness. Emptiness is a void. Stillness is a state of profound fullness, a presence. But how do we find it when the mind is so loud? The mind is a restless guest. It replays conversations from decades ago. It worries about the future. It mourns the past. It will fill the outer silence with its own inner noise, its own chatter. And this is the true source of our suffering. Not the empty chair, but the mind story about the empty chair. So, our first practice is not to try and silence the mind. That is an impossible task, like trying to flatten the ocean with your hands. Instead, we give the mind a simple, single point of focus. This focus is your breath. It is the most loyal companion you have ever had. It has been with you since your first moment, and it will be with you until your very last. It has never left you. It asks for nothing. It simply is. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes or simply lower your gaze. Feel the air enter your nostrils. Notice the coolness of the air. Follow it as it fills your lungs. Feel the gentle expansion of your chest and belly, and then feel the release as you exhale. Notice the warmth of the air leaving your body. Do not try to change it. Do not force it to be deeper or slower. Simply observe it. This breath is your anchor in the present moment. Whenever the mind pulls you into the past, into the stories of loss and loneliness, gently, without frustration, guide your attention back to the physical sensation of your breath. Each time you do this, you are performing an act of self-compassion. You are strengthening a muscle, the muscle of presence. In the beginning, you may have to bring your attention back 100 times in a minute. That is perfectly fine. That is the practice. It is not about achieving a perfect state of no thought. It is about the gentle, persistent returning, the returning to yourself. The quiet of your home then begins to change. It is no longer a symbol of absence. It becomes the supportive environment for this practice. The silence becomes an ally, allowing you to hear the subtle whisper of your own breath, to feel the rhythm of your own being. You are cultivating an inner garden. In this garden, you are never alone. You are in the company of your own awareness. This is the foundation upon which all other forms of happiness can be built. It is the inner bedrock. It does not depend on anyone else's presence, on a phone call, on a visit. It is entirely and beautifully yours. This inner stillness is a homecoming, a return to the one person who was always there, waiting for you to notice. Yourself. Changing perception. There is a profound difference between the word alone and the word solitude. They may seem to describe the same physical state, being by oneself, but their inner landscapes are worlds apart. Alone carries the sting of lack, of abandonment, of something missing. It is a problem to be solved. Solitude, on the other hand, is a state of being. It is a chosen stillness, a richness, a deep and fulfilling communion with oneself. The journey from the pain of being alone to the joy of solitude is purely a journey of perception. It does not require your circumstances to change at all. It requires your mind to change. Imagine holding a glass of water. One person may look at it and say, it is half empty. They focus on what has been taken away, on the space, the void. This brings a feeling of scarcity and disappointment. Another person can look at the very same glass and say, it is half full. They focus on what is present, on what they have. This brings a feeling of gratitude and abundance. The amount of water in the glass has not changed. The reality is identical. The only thing that has changed is the story the mind tells about it. Your life in this moment is this glass of water. You can focus on the friends who are no longer here, and this will bring you endless sorrow. Or you can focus on the incredible, rich space their absence has created. This space is not an emptiness to be feared. It is an opportunity. When our lives are full of social obligations, conversations, and the needs of others, we have very little time for ourselves. We spend decades fulfilling roles: parent, spouse, colleague, friend. These roles are beautiful, but they can also obscure our truest self. Now, at this stage of life, many of these roles may have fallen away. The stage is quieter, the audience has gone home, and for the first time in a very long time, you are left on the stage by yourself. This can be terrifying, or it can be liberating. It is your perception that decides. Ask yourself a simple question: what can I do now that I could not do before? Perhaps you can finally read that book you have had for 20 years. Perhaps you can sit and listen to an entire piece of music without interruption. Perhaps you can rearrange your home exactly as you wish, without needing anyone else's approval. Perhaps you can simply sit by the window and watch the world go by, without feeling the pressure to be doing something, to be entertaining someone. This is not a lesser life. It is a different kind of life, with its own unique freedoms and joys. We must also examine the source of the pain of being alone. Often, it stems from the ego's need for validation. The ego loves to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be needed. When we have friends, we feel validated. Our existence is confirmed by their presence. When they are gone, the ego can panic. It asks, if no one sees me, do I even exist? If no one needs me, am I worthless? This is a trick of the mind. Your worth is not determined by how many people you have in your life. Your worth is inherent. It is the simple, profound fact of your existence, your consciousness. To change this perception, you can practice gratitude for what was. When a memory of a lost friend arises, instead of allowing the mind to fall into the story of, I am all alone now, try a different path. Acknowledge the memory, see their face in your mind's eye, and then say, silently or out loud, thank you. Thank you for the time we had. Thank you for the laughter. I am grateful for the part of my journey you shared. This simple act transforms the memory from a painful ghost into a treasured jewel. It shifts the energy from loss to gratitude. You are not mourning what is gone. You are appreciating what you were given. This reframes your entire past. Your life has not been a series of losses. It has been a series of immense gifts. The fullness of that past is still within you. The space you have now is the ground in which you can appreciate it. Solitude is the art of enjoying your own company. It is a sign of emotional and spiritual maturity. It is not an unfortunate circumstance. It is a noble pursuit, purposeful activity. An idle mind is a worried mind. When we have nothing to direct our energy towards, the mind will naturally drift towards its well-worn paths of rumination, of regret, of anxiety. The body becomes still, but the mind runs in frantic circles, exhausting our spirit. This is why in a monastic life, meditation is balanced with work. We sweep the temple floors, we tend the gardens, we cook the meals. These are not chores. They are practices. They are moving meditations. To find happiness in solitude, one must infuse their days with purpose, not a grand, world-changing purpose, but the simple, humble purpose of mindful, intentional action. The beauty of this stage of life is that you are now the master of your own schedule. You can create your own rhythm, your own personal monastery. A day without structure can feel like a vast, intimidating desert. But a day with a gentle, self-created structure feels like a well-tended garden. This structure does not need to be rigid or demanding. It can be simple. Perhaps you decide that every morning after you wake, you will dedicate 15 minutes to stretching your body. Then, you will mindfully prepare your breakfast, paying full attention to the process. You will then tend to a single houseplant. That is it. That is your morning's purpose. The key is not what you do, but how you do it. Let us take the example of preparing a meal. For many, cooking for one can feel sad and pointless. Why bother making a nice meal for just me? This question comes from the perception that the effort is for someone else. We must change this. The effort is for you. You are worthy of a nourishing, well-prepared meal. So, you approach the task as a practice. You wash the vegetables and feel the cool water on your hands. You chop the carrots and listen to the crisp sound of the knife on the cutting board. You smell the aromas as they begin to rise from the pan. You are not just making food, you are engaging your senses. You are participating fully in the moment. The purpose of cooking is not just the final meal. The purpose is the cooking itself. This can be applied to anything. Organizing a bookshelf? Do not rush to get it done. Feel the texture of each book cover. Read the titles. Remember where you got it. Place it on the shelf with intention. The purpose is not a clean shelf. The purpose is the act of bringing order and care to your environment. Sweeping the floor, feel the handle of the broom in your hands, observe the smooth flowing motion, listen to the soft sound of the bristles on the floor. You are not just cleaning a mess, you are clearing a space, both physically and mentally. Every act, no matter how small, can be elevated to a sacred ritual when performed with full awareness. This practice grounds you in your body and in the present moment. It prevents the mind from being hijacked by loneliness. When you are fully absorbed in a purposeful activity, there is no room for sorrow. There is only the sensation of doing. This creates a deep sense of self-reliance. You are no longer waiting for someone to call, for something to happen to make your day better. You are actively creating your own sense of well-being, moment by moment, with your own two hands. You are the source of your own engagement with life. Learning something new can be another powerful form of purpose. Your age is not a barrier, it is a vantage point. With a lifetime of experience, your mind has a rich soil in which to plant new seeds. Perhaps it is learning a few words of a new language each day, or watching documentaries about history or art, or learning how to identify the birds you see from your window. This gentle intellectual stimulation gives the mind a positive direction to channel its energy. It fosters a sense of growth and curiosity. Life is not over. The process of learning and becoming never ends. By creating a life of small, purposeful activities, you build a powerful antidote to despair. Your day becomes a tapestry woven with threads of your own mindful intention. Observing nature. When the company of humans fades from our lives, we often forget that we are constantly surrounded by a different kind of companionship. It is the steadfast, silent, and deeply wise company of the natural world. This companionship asks for nothing. It does not judge. It does not speak in words, but it communicates profound truths to those who are willing to listen with their senses. One of the most healing practices for someone experiencing loneliness is to become a student of nature, even if that nature is just a sliver of sky seen through a window or a single weed growing through a crack in the pavement. For many older adults, mobility may be limited. You do not need to journey to great forests or majestic mountains to connect with nature. Your laboratory, your temple, is right where you are. Begin with the light. Notice how it enters your room in the morning. See how it moves across the floor throughout the day. It is a slow, silent river of gold. Watch the shapes of the shadows and how they stretch and shrink as the hours pass. This light is a direct connection to the sun, a star millions of miles away. It is a daily visitor, a faithful presence. By simply observing it, you are connecting with the grand rhythm of the cosmos. There is nothing lonely about that. Then there is the sky. The sky is a canvas of constant change. Look at the clouds, see their shapes, their textures, their speed. Some days they are like wisps of cotton, other days they are a heavy gray blanket. No two moments are ever the same. The sky is a perfect teacher of impermanence, showing you that everything is in a state of constant, gentle flow. Following the path of a single cloud with your eyes until it disappears is a meditation in itself. It costs nothing, it requires no physical effort, but it connects you to the vastness of the world beyond your four walls. If you have a window that looks out onto even a single tree, you have a teacher for all seasons. In the spring, watch with patience as the buds slowly swell and burst into tender green leaves. In the summer, notice how the leaves dance in the wind, providing shelter and shade. In the autumn, witness the spectacular and graceful surrender as the leaves turn to fire and gold before letting go. And in the winter, appreciate the stark, honest beauty of the bare branches, a skeleton of truth against the cold sky. This tree teaches resilience, acceptance, and the beauty of cycles. It loses everything it has every single year, and yet it stands with quiet dignity, trusting that spring will return. What a profound lesson for a human heart that has experienced loss. Even the smallest creatures can be your companions. Watch the journey of an ant on the windowsill. See its determination, its sense of purpose. Listen to the song of a bird in the early morning. It is not singing for you, but you have the privilege of receiving its song. That song is an expression of pure, unadulterated life force. Allowing these simple sights and sounds to enter your awareness is a form of connection. It reminds you that you are not separate from the world, but an integral part of this intricate living web of existence. Your breath connects you to the air, your body to the earth. This practice of observing nature cultivates a sense of wonder and curiosity. It pulls the focus away from the self-centered narratives of the mind, the poor me stories, and places it onto the simple, objective, and beautiful reality that is always present. The sound of rain on the roof, the feeling of a cool breeze on your skin, the warmth of a sunbeam on your hand. These are all connections. These are all forms of companionship. When you attune your senses to the natural world, you discover that you are and have always been deeply and profoundly accompanied. You are a part of this world, and it is a part of you. The feeling of separation dissolves, and a quiet, joyful sense of belonging takes its place. Embracing change. We now arrive at the final and perhaps most difficult, yet most liberating practice. All the other steps, cultivating stillness, changing perception, finding purpose, connecting with nature, are a preparation for this. This is the ultimate key to unlocking a state of unshakable peace, a happiness that does not depend on anything or anyone external. It is the practice of wholeheartedly embracing impermanence. The deepest source of our suffering around losing friends is not the loss itself. It is our fierce, desperate resistance to the fact that everything changes. Everything. We are born into a world of flow, of flux. The river you see today is not the same river you saw yesterday. The cells in your body are constantly dying and being replaced. The thoughts in your mind arise and pass away like clouds. Relationships, too, are part of this universal law. They begin, they flourish, and they end. The end may come through distance, through disagreement, or through the finality of death. This is not a failure. It is not a tragedy. It is simply the nature of existence. We suffer because we try to build a permanent house on a flowing river. We cling to people and circumstances, trying to freeze a single beautiful moment in time, and then we are heartbroken when the river inevitably carries it away. The pain you feel is the tension of this clinging. It is the protest of the ego against reality. The ego says, this shouldn't be. My friends should still be here. My life should still be the way it was. And every time the ego says this, it creates another wave of suffering. The path to freedom is not to get the friends back. The path is to let go of the demand that they should be here. It is a radical acceptance of reality as it is, in this moment, not as you wish it were. This is not a cold or heartless act. On the contrary, it is an act of supreme love. It allows you to look back at the friendships you had with a pure and profound sense of gratitude. When you are no longer resisting the fact that they ended, you can fully appreciate them for what they were, immense gifts. You can hold the memories not as painful reminders of what you've lost, but as beautiful treasures that you were blessed to have. The joy was real, the love was real, the laughter was real, and the fact that it had an end does not diminish its value in any way. A beautiful song is still beautiful even though it has a final note. Its beauty, in part, comes from the fact that it does end. So the practice is this. When sadness arises for a person who is gone, allow the feeling to be there, but notice the story your mind attaches to it. Is it a story of resistance? I want it back. If so, gently notice that resistance, and then see if you can introduce a new thought. Thank you for the time we had. I release my need for it to have been different. I accept the reality of now. This is the act of letting go. It is not forgetting. It is releasing the fight. You are putting down a very, very heavy bag that you have been carrying for a long time. This final acceptance is the source of true happiness in solitude, because when you no longer need the world to be a certain way, when you no longer need people to stay or circumstances to be permanent, you are free. Your happiness is no longer a fragile thing that can be shattered by external events. It becomes an internal state of being, rooted in the quiet, steady acceptance of the world's natural, constant, and beautiful flow. You become like the great oak tree, which does not weep when its leaves fall in autumn, but stands in quiet strength, deeply rooted in the earth, knowing that it is whole and complete in every season of its existence. You too are whole and complete right now in this season of your life. You are the silent observer of your own life's magnificent journey. The roles you played, the people you loved, the joys and sorrows, they were all clouds passing through the vast open sky of your awareness. The sky is not diminished when the clouds dissipate. It remains. That sky, that silent, peaceful awareness, is your truest nature and your most faithful companion. It has been with you all along. In this final chapter of life, you have been given the profound gift of space and quiet, not to be lonely, but to finally become acquainted with the immense, loving presence that is you. As a 78-year-old widower, this video felt like a direct conversation with my own heart. I've been struggling in a house that feels so loud with silence. The idea of the house not being empty, but full of space for myself, that just shifted something in me. I've started just watching the way the afternoon light hits the armchair where my wife used to sit. Instead of crying, today I just watched, and I felt a sense of peace I haven't felt in years. Thank you. Does anyone else find comfort in just watching the light move across the room?